Like, I know that sounds really blunt, but like, I think I wasn't like a Drag Race sycophant before going in. So to then have that experience happen to me, I'm always kind of glad, because if someone needed that last moment with RuPaul, it wasn't me.
Hi babes, and welcome to Attitude Tea Time, where each week I'll be bringing you the freshly brewed tea with the latest eliminee from Drag Race UK Series 4. And this week I'm joined by trans activists with the mostest, politically engaged in the best dress list, Schiffer's coming for you, baby. It's Dakota Schiffer. Let's get into it. First things first, congratulations. How does it feel to have been on Drag Race UK Series 4?
It feels very surreal. I'm very grateful at the response I've received. I'm just so overwhelmed, and I don't think I could have done any more than what I did. So I'm very grateful.
I mean, you have pretty much immediately become, I'm going to say it, fan favourite of Series 4.
Oh, come on, fan favourite. I think it's been people keep saying that. I don't know if I do feel it because my phone is hot, but also I don't know, it could be a bunch of hate comments. I know I try not to read them, but I will. I think it's been so overwhelming, and the response has been so lovely, and I think I felt so little while I was there, and I really beat myself up about where I was against the other queens in the competition, and to actually feel like confident for the first time in my life, and feel worthy, and that I did a good job, and I gaslit myself on set to thinking I was the worst one every week, but to actually like feel like I did a good job in a lot of challenges, and put my best foot forward, like, and have the fans agree or make me feel better about how I did. I'm just overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is the word. I can't even begin to describe how it feels.
I mean, I think it was an incredibly relatable journey, and especially like from a personal perspective, I related so much to watching you, particularly saying that you were sort of gaslighting yourself into thinking you were the worst every week, but actually sort of watching you overcome that and do really well in the competition, even in challenges which I think the other queens maybe weren't expecting you to do well, like Snatch Game.
Saw Michelle's Vogue routine. It was insincere to the point of nausea. Wouldn't piss on her, she burst into flames.
You were robbed queen in Snatch Game.
Well, but robbed every bloody week, apparently. I'm so grateful that like I managed to surprise people with that, because I knew going in that there's so many stereotypes they put on contestants when they come in. You're this queen, you're like this queen before, you're like this queen before. And I think if you come in saying, oh, I love fashion and I love sewing and I do drag for the aesthetic, then people are like, oh my God, she's gonna flop a comedy challenge. But I so wanted to surprise people, and I think that's what I may not have done with Pete Burns. I always knew I was gonna do Pete Burns. I've been impersonating him for years, just with my friends when we watch Big Brother Best Bits on YouTube. And I am so happy that I got to prove that I have comedy chops as well. So I'm glad that the fans had such a positive reaction to that.
I mean, you really did. I'm trying to give you a bit of a Pete Burns moment now.
Fabulous. I see that.
It's not as good as yours.
If your Black Hope been arrested, Tia.
Yes. Now we have to talk about the fact that it is very rare in the sort of modern age that you can ever be the first person to make an achievement. And you were the first trans contestant on Drag Race UK, which is honestly icon level status. How has the reaction been to that?
The reaction's been insane. I think it's the reason why I did it in the first place. You know, I think lots of people go into the competition, I think, I don't like with a motive to promote themselves and that their only barrier is to represent themselves well. And for me, it was really important going in that I'd represent a lot of people, and that pressure was certainly there to represent an entire community for the first time on this franchise. But the response has been overwhelming. The amount of messages and conversations I've had in person with incredibly brave trans people that have shared their stories with me, it just makes it all worthwhile. All the long hours and crazy filming schedules and just the trauma of judging and lip syncing bloody every other week for me, it makes it all worthwhile, because I know that people finally got to see a nuanced and positive representation of what a trans person looks like in the UK in 2022. And I also got to show my art as well, which is a bonus. But I'm so grateful, and I'm so happy that in this current media landscape in the UK, we get to see trans people represented the way that they were on Drag Race UK, the way I was on Drag Race UK. I'm just so grateful. A lot of grateful.
I mean, we're all very lucky and fortunate to have met a trans activist with the mostest, politically engaged in the best.
He's on the best blitz.
Which was an iconic verse, also.
Thank you very much. Oh my God, everyone keeps... I did not even think I was going to win that girl group challenge, and everyone shouts it. I got shouted that line in the street the other day, and I just like ran into like Boots. So I was like, oh my God, like someone's singing the lyrics back to me. It was so weird. You've
obviously had like such an amazing reaction from people. Like people absolutely love and adore you. But I think this week, more than a lot of weeks, there has been a lot of negativity to other queens on the season. How have you sort of reacted and responded to that?
I can't stand it. And it was I felt really anxious about this episode because I did feel like the judging was a little wonky, if I don't get me wrong. It was one of the first episodes I really didn't feel like I was lip syncing, which is hilarious because basically every episode I was like, give me that iPod, I'm going home. This episode I was like, woo, like, it's so good. Like, she looks amazing, doesn't she? Like, and bring home a triplet. And then it was just like, bam, you're going home. The negativity towards other queens is so vile, and I just wish that people could watch the show and have their opinions and if people want to give me praise, I'm very happy for that, but if that praise comes with negativity for any other queen, then I'd rather not have it. And they're not a fan of mine, they're not being respectful of the sisters and the sisterhood that we made when we were there. I think actually out of any other season of Drag Race, it's very kumbaya, RuPaul's best friend race. The fact that there's so much negativity coming out after this challenge, we don't decide where we place. We don't get to decide where we come. Like, why? It's not Pixie's or Jumbo's or Pepper's or Danny's or Cheddar's fault that I was in the bottom two that day. And to see any negativity towards anyone in the guise of praise, I think it's so irritating. But I just wish people would spread the love.
We don't send other people home. Ru makes the decision, whether it be via earpiece or not.
Yeah. Send Dakota home, the one in the pink. Yeah, go home.
That one. Also, another iconic thing. You are the first and only queen in a series that is hosted by RuPaul to have been sent home by Michelle Visage.
I guess. I don't know. I think people been saying that to me like it's an achievement. I'm like, girl, I just got sent home. Like, I think people who are like massive fans of the show, I think have got some messages being like, oh, it's so sad you didn't get to hear like last words from RuPaul, and like I didn't care. Like I know that sounds really blunt, but like I think I wasn't like a Drag Race sycophant before going in, so to then have that experience happen to me, I'm always kind of glad, because if someone needed that last moment with RuPaul, it wasn't me. So I got my RuPaul lovely comments at episode 3 when they told me I walked the runway like a model and I understood fashion and the construction of my dress was beautiful. I didn't need to hear a single comment from RuPaul after that. I remember coming in on episode 4 and being like, send me home, like I got what I wanted.
I love that. All you needed to hear from RuPaul was that your garment was well constructed and you walked like a model. Never heard that from her. Never. I have to ask, okay, you said earlier that the judging was a little bit wonky.
Yeah.
And I don't want to express opinions, but last week with LaFille I expressed opinions, so this week I'm going to express opinions. I don't think you should have been in the bottom.
Well, that's been a sentiment shared by a lot of people. I am grateful that is people liked what I did with my makeover. At the same time, I very much understood the repetitive critique. The annoying thing is the show makes it seem like something that people have been saying for weeks, and I'd never heard that from the judges whatsoever. Never ever heard switch it up, change it up, you serve 60s too much. Like, so to then hear it on that runway, and I remember saying, my next two runway looks are very different. Like, and it's funny, we don't get the runway order, so we have no idea what order it's going to come in. And it's seemingly my two edgy push the boat out and expensive runways was shoved to the end of the competition. And I was like, please, like, I promise, like, a variety next week. Like, I'm going to bring you goth, I'm going to bring you horror. I'm really like extravagant looks. Like, please, like these last two ones, like they're going to completely make you eat your words when you'll see on Instagram. They would have eaten their words. I understood that critique, but in terms of the physical makeover and also drag family resemblance, you're meant to be representing your brand and your, like, what your drag family would look like. Like, my drag family isn't going to look like a giant Venus flytrap. Like, I'm not going to put Lucy in, like, make her look like a cat. Like, as much as that I love drag that does that, like, that wouldn't make sense for me to be like, okay, you become a Schiffer this week, we're going to be a cactus. Like, it just, like, why? That doesn't make sense. So I think the judging changes every time with makeover challenges. You could be a twin one week and one makeover challenge in one season and win, and then another season you could get sent home for it. I'm just grateful that people have responded well to it, and I'm proud of what I did, and I'm also glad I didn't go home on a challenge that I completely bombed.
I do think it was interesting because you speak about it being family resemblant and obviously it being branded. So I asked this question pointedly. When has Black Pepper ever been a clown and when has Jombas been a mime?
Well, no, I tell you this, Peppers didn't do that makeup before. I think it was quite a smart move for the makeover. Peppers kind of Berlin nightclub sort of leather kind of aesthetic, I felt like came across in their look. And Jomba's look is very chic and fashion. I think I love the garments themselves. I think the clown mime thing, she kind of branded herself as a fashion clown. It probably was one of the first things that she came in and said. And I think it was one of the first runways where that brand was quite visible.
Sorry, I'm literally obsessed with you. You have such a good energy and just kindness. Like, I can't cope.
Thank you.
I have to ask about your elimination. So when you were sent home, you ran and got an item that appeared to be for another runway, which I believe has sentimental value.
Yes. The jumper was knitted by my twin tirelessly. My twin is an incredible knitter. They make the most amazing creations with knitting needles. I still don't know how to knit. They try to teach me and it just goes over my head. I do drag, they do knitting. It's our niche. When RuPaul's The Knitting Race comes on, I think Winona, it's a shoe-in. But I think for the reason why I was so upset leaving, I think, was because I didn't get to wear that piece. Every runway I was just hoping it was the runway theme that jumper was for, because I was just like, oh my God, they were writing their dissertation. I distracted them so much. They put so much like hours of work into making it. The first thing I did when I got into that workroom was I literally like looked at the producer and I went, please let me wear this jumper, because otherwise you're gonna have to drag me out kicking and screaming. It didn't look like much when I put it on, and it was silly and it was fun, but that jumper means so much to me, and everyone on set knew it because I kept showing everyone. I was like, look what my twin made for me, like, they're so talented, like, everyone needs to see this. And everyone was like, Dakota, we've seen the bloody jumper, stop showing us the jumper. But I'm glad that the world gets to see it, and when you see the shoot for it, your mind will be blown. Well, actually, maybe I'm being myself a bit there. It's going to be a great shoot. It's going to be really, really fun to see the reaction to it now that the jumper is canonically linked with my elimination.
Oh, that's gorgeous, because your twin is such like an intrinsic part of your life completely. And I've actually been fortunate enough to meet them. Also see a picture of you both in drag, and it's completely indistinguishable who is who.
I really thought they were going to send them in for the makeover challenge. I was stood there that day being like screaming Harry through the walls, like, are you there? Like, scream if you're there. And there was no response. And then they sent the Queen team, which is great. I think Lucy made a pretty good triplet, if I do get me wrong. I think she looked very similar.
Right, final question. Obviously, your mirror message, you wrote trans rights on that mirror in big, bold letters. Obviously, you are politically engaged, and we know that. Do you have any parting words, particularly for the fandom, who sometimes are questionable in their viewpoint, about sort of like you as a trans icon. And I'm naming you a trans icon at this stage.
Thank you, Tia. That's very
you
great.
As a trans icon, being on Drag Race and representing your drag.
I'd say, it's about keeping an open mind, just like people keep an open mind to different styles of drag, i.e. Danny having facial hair in drag or Cheddar being an androgynous alien deity. I think the UK hasn't necessarily been fortunate enough to see showgirls and trans drag queens and drag artists who, it might not be the grandest transformation, but that's not exactly how that's not what all drag is, and that's not the reason why a lot of people do drag. And I think for me, it's my creative expression, it's my creative outlet. I think being the guinea pig, I guess, for trans women doing drag on the UK at least. We've certainly seen a lot more of it in the US, but I'd say to the fans, just keep an open mind. And if it looks simple and you don't think I look draggy enough, then you can go support a drag queen who has eyebrows in their hairline. But if you like it, then I thank you. I'm just proud I stayed true to my aesthetic and represented trans people hopefully well, because it's just been an incredible response. I'm so grateful, and I guess that's where I'd wrap up my Drag Race experience.
And if you would like to support a drag queen who has eyebrows in their hairline, Olivia, who was Jomba's makeover, is available.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, yeah.
Dakota, thank you so much for talking to me today. I am literally obsessed. I shouldn't have favourites, but I do, and it's you. So
I'm obsessed with you. Thank you.
I'm so gutted to see you go, but so excited to see what you bring for all of us in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching Attitude Tea Time. Make sure you tune in again for some more scalding hot tea from the latest eliminee from Drag Race UK Series 4. Bye, babes.